Mark, so we don't need fancy graphics. We'll be just fine. Because we have a fancy title of a fancy person today that Mark's going to have to translate for all of us because he's kind of a big deal. So thank you, Mark, for joining us.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you. You know, our residents are watching now, and then our community will watch later. And everybody, we have such a great relationship with PMC, Penske Media Corp, who's been in various iterations through Variety Insight. So wonderful to us. And Mark is the president of Variety Business Intelligence, which the official party line is that it's the paid digital products group that includes Variety Insight, Variety Archives, vScore, as well as new product development. So very mysterious. We'll get to that later. But so Mark, we always want to know where people's professional journey started, but we want to know like where the human journey started. Where are you from?
We might never get off the human journey, but
I know. Exactly. I hope we never do.
Yeah, right. So I always enjoy kind of starting conversations that way. And thanks again for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I grew up on the largest ostrich ranch on the west coast of the United States, Silver Oaks Ostrich Ranch. My parents, both immigrants, my mom grew up in the UK. My dad grew up in Shanghai. He's German, but grew up in Shanghai and came here as a teenager. They started ranching when we were about, my sister and I were about 14, 15 years old. So just kind of starting high school. And it grew into, my dad's background was he was a financial consultant working with some Valley companies in the Bay Area. And they kind of bought this ranch thinking they'd want a lifestyle change. And
is this NorCal that you're talking about?
Area.
Got you.
Yeah, so the ranch is located in Morgan Hill, which is south of San Jose, in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's a beautiful, beautiful area in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So at the upper elevations, you have redwood forests, and the lower elevations, you have oak forests and reservoirs and streams, and it's just beautiful, very idyllic. So my parents...
You're right, though. Your human journey, I think, requires a whole nother show. We've got ostrich farms in Shanghai and finance. Okay, keep going. Amazing.
There's somewhere. There's a series or a concept in there somewhere. I just
love it. I just visited an ostrich farm, by the way, prior to the pandemic. We went to near Solvang, that cute little town. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name? It's the Dutch town. Well, it is Solvang. Okay, but right outside of Solvang is this ostrich farm that's unbelievable.
Yeah. They love the climate. California's a great climate for ostriches. And my one plug for the ostrich business is it's a red meat like beef, but it's 2% cholesterol, so it's healthier than chicken.
Right.
So it's like beef, but you want to have healthy meat. It's a good alternative.
Fantastic. Okay, so we know a little bit of the beginning, and then I know that you spent time on two coasts. I know I'm so annoying. I always bring up the people who went to UCLA, but I think that's what any proud alum does. So you're a West Coaster for UCLA, post-grad work, NYU. How'd you get then to here?
So I majored in U.S. history, U.S. political history at UCLA. Love UCLA. What a great experience that was. Go Bruins. And then a number of years later, I ended up applying to and getting in to the graduate musical theater writing program at NYU. And I did that for about a semester. I ended up dropping out of that program. I still love musical theater, and I love theater, but it was something that at the end I decided there was more pull for me to go the data route, which is, you know, what we'll talk about here at some point. But
fascinating, yeah, absolutely. So you obviously have a love for the industry. I mean, the musical theater background, and then you went the data route. So were you always wanting to be in the entertainment industry in some way? Was that always something you thought about, or did you kind of fall into it?
No, it's something that I always wanted. I think like a lot of people, I had as a young person and somebody growing up in middle school, high school, and even as a child, my parents dropped me off at the Children's Musical Theater, and I did theater all through high school, and I worked as an actor for a little while after college, and so I always had an interest in working in entertainment. And then my dad always said, he said, you're really defined by the first job you kind of get out of college. And the first job I ended up getting was working for two producers who had an overall deal at Warner Brothers Television. And from there, I ended up getting hired at Fox Broadcasting Company in drama series development. And it was at Fox where I had the idea of starting my own company, a company called TV Tracker. And TV Tracker essentially is the foundation, the basis of what became Variety Business Intelligence today.
Got it. Okay. That is fascinating. So this gets us to where you are. I always think it's fascinating when someone has, we have a chaplain on campus who used to be an agent. And that's like the industry's biggest 180 in a beautiful way. Then she gets it. And you pivoted a little bit. So tell us, what exactly does the president of Variety Business Intelligence do?
So maybe I'll just back up and say what the heck is Variety Business Intelligence? So we all know Variety.
Please, yes.
So we are a division of Variety Media, and we essentially are the data group for Variety. So we have a solution, a product called Variety Insight, and Variety Insight is a password protection,
which you all should subscribe to, and one day we may even have a great partnership. But yes, it's a fantastic resource for us.
Yes, and Mptf uses it for sure. And in that product, we're tracking people, projects, companies. So it's deals, it's development slates, it's ratings and box office information. It's really a resource for everything that a production company, studio, network, streamer needs to operate in the entertainment industry today. So we're information brokers. It's all kind of curated and validated for business purposes. So if you think of a product like IMDb, which a lot of people are familiar with on a consumer level, we're if you think of IMDb on steroids or IMDb that's been verified for business purposes, we do that. And the other piece of our business is we license data to the entertainment industry. So people can come to us and use Variety Insight, the website, or they can also license our data through APIs and pull into their internal systems. So companies like Netflix or CAA, for example, they'll pull our data into their systems so that they combine it with their own data and get deeper insights.
Right, because you're such a trusted resource, and obviously the intelligence, obviously repetitive. It's what is in the title. Like I said, we use it tremendously, and obviously you're talking about the titans of the industry licensing your data. So, okay, we get it. We get what the intelligence is about and how crucial that is. I would imagine this is growing exponentially, and how important it is to, we've been talking about big data years back, and now we're, in the healthcare industry. So your role as president to help evolve this, what's it been like with COVID? What changes have you seen with COVID?
COVID's been challenging for a lot of businesses, and we see that among our clients. For us, we pivoted really rapidly and began tracking productions and which productions were getting affected by COVID. That information became, as you can imagine, very valuable to studios and financiers and everybody involved in kind of the ecosystem in entertainment. So for us, we were able to kind of help out our clients by really identifying where the kind of the production pipeline was getting impacted. And for us, it certainly has been some challenges, but this year we've continued to grow. We grew at about a 20 or 30% clip this year over year. So our business continues to go, because I think even in challenging times, we find that the data information, companies need to rely on that almost even more.
Yeah.
Given what's going on economically. And so for us, we've managed to do all right. So we're very grateful.
That's wonderful. So another journey, the Mptf journey, part of how we just met recently is about partnering together and helping us, get our mission out there using, the tools and resources that you have and being partners for the events. Again, you all have been so lovely to us. How did you first learn about MPTF?
Well, it was actually back in 2012 when I sold. So I sold for a TV tracker to Variety.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, Variety did a wonderful thing for me, which was gave me a ticket to the night before event.
Yeah.
And I think, like a lot of people, that was my first introduction, and I thought, wow, this is such an amazing event. What are we? What is this supporting? And that kind of led me on this journey and a deeper partnership with MPTF. But such a critical and important mission, and even more so given what's going on with the pandemic and the economy.
Yeah, we were just talking to one of our, senior social workers who's really looking at data and the amount of intake calls. I mean, talking about growing exponentially and how the need and how much we need people to know who we are. It's almost tripled with a smaller workforce because families are dealing with COVID. So, it's been quite a challenge. First of all, thank you for actually going to the event and asking, what is this organization that's supported? Because one of the beautiful things, the silver lining, I guess, about having virtual events is we were able to actually market ourselves a little bit more and to talk about the mission and the services, because it is a fantastic party, right? It is an incredible night, but we all kind of collectively internally think not everyone really knows why they're there or who they're there for and what it's supporting. So appreciate you for taking that extra step. Obviously we're turning 100, and I want to talk about our 100th, but I want to quickly talk about, you are clearly so philanthropic and so concerned about giving back, which is, fortunately for us and most nonprofits, that's the people you get in your circle. You're here because you want to, and you're taking the time, or finding the time rather. So you sit, and I did a little bit of cursory research, so I hope this is correct, but you still sit on the board of Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's Research Foundation. Is that right?
Let me just put a finer point on it. I am one of the founding members of the Team Fox Los Angeles chapter of the Michael J. Fox Parkinson's Foundation. So that's the grassroots arm here in Los Angeles. So a little bit different, but my connection to MPT, to Michael J. Fox Parkinson's Foundation is my dad had Parkinson's for years before he passed away, and that led me to getting involved in the organization, which does just incredible work.
It sure does. I'm so obviously sorry to hear about your father. I figured there's always a tie to something awful that leads to something beautiful, and that's wonderful, the work that you've done. So we're about to turn 100, and we hope that we have more marks involved and more people involved, and thank you for helping us with our mission. But speaking of it, it's a great excuse. 100 years is impressive. We're raising a ton of money, but it's a really great excuse for us to get out there and educate and raise awareness so that we can help as many people as possible. What's your advice, just with your incredible data background and with the industry? What's the best way, given the times, to get our mission and services out to people?
Well, it's a great question. So, Variety turned 115 this year, and Variety Business Intelligence turned 20. And for us, which I think is really the same for MPTF, it's really leaning into that mission. And for, MPTF, really helping out and supporting the entertainment industry as it ages, and that commitment, the importance of dignity as one ages. And for me, it's quite personal because both my parents ended up developing neurological illnesses. My mom, Alzheimer's, but regardless of kind of the challenges that we face when we age, the cost and the resources required to care for people and family members as they get older is absolutely insane in this country. And the critical work you're doing is so important. And I'm so glad that, at least for the entertainment industry, we have an organization like Mptf, which is really caring for our own. And so we are, with you 100% of the way. And I think, it's really getting that message out there, and particularly in this climate where we're seeing so many challenges for so many people, understanding what Mptf does is more critical than ever. So I think you just lean in.
Absolutely, and you're so right on point when you're talking about, of course, I mean, you articulated our mission very well, and aging, with dignity and grace, and to be able to give these resources. I've worked at some organizations. I feel so incredibly proud to be a part of, exactly like you said, us being a safety net to take care of our own. And we're seeing other industries kind of, reach out and be a part of that same model to take care of their own. We should all be so lucky to have a safety net. And one thing, when we're talking about aging, of course, you start aging the minute you enter this world. And we've seen our services, which are typically 65 and over, it's flip-flopped this year, and we're seeing 56% from 65 and under need the help. So the landscape is changing. Younger people are struggling. We're here in Southern California. It's not a cheap or easy place to live. We're all in this industry by choice. And I just want to say thank you, because I know we had chatted, and just you being an advocate to get our mission out there. Speaking of younger population, we have a children's center. We just had Tony Goldwyn speak to our Next Gen last night, and it's the Samuel Goldwyn Family Foundation Children's Center that's in LA, that so many people don't even know that this, Sam created this so that people of the industry could be taken care of. So we really try to be cradle to the grave with the mission. And I think, especially with the data and everything that you all are doing, we have such an opportunity to reach that younger population as well, so that we can, of course, celebrate the home, which is unbelievable. Thank you to the Wasserman family and to Jean Hirschholt. But we need to get out there to the community, because a lot of people are aging in place, as well as wanting to live in a place as idyllic and wonderful as the Mptf campus. You've kind of already answered this, because our mission is about taking care of our own, and you're so good in the way that you talked about it. But I guess, what about Mptf really resonates with you? And maybe you don't know yet, but with our services, we talked very generally about helping people age in place. I guess, let me ask you this, Mark. Have you ever volunteered for us before and been a part of that?
It's a great question. So, one of the things that our parent company, PMC, which owns Rolling Stone, Variety, Deadline, now we own 50% of the Hollywood Reporter, has this fantastic culture, which is, we have a 2% foundation, which allows every single one of our employees to have 4 days off per year to volunteer for any organization. We have had many employees that actually have volunteered with Mptf, come down to the campus, but I have not, so bad on me.
That's
still
okay. We'll get you in.
Yes, please do. I'd love to.
Yeah, we do days of service. We've seen that. Of course, a lot of things have shifted this year. We can't bring all the staff to campus and really interact. We are praying we get there sooner rather than later. But don't worry, we have some really great opportunities to get you involved and to do some days of service, and even just zooming into organized chaos like what we're doing right now. There are some really fun ways to virtually be with our residents. Jen and her team do Mafia, which I don't know, I think we had mentioned to you. They do book reviews. It's really fantastic. So we'll figure out a way to get you involved. We're actually doing some food delivery to really target food insecurity among our industry. So we'll chat with you more. Here's Jen. Jen always comes in and is the closer with what seems like an easy couple of questions.
They're not.
It's not.
No.
And we know that people work for certain companies, and you give whatever answer is appropriate. But Jen's going to hit you with something.
Well, and I also wanted to say, anytime that you want to come and participate on Organized Chaos, you are...
Mark, it's so fun. You have to get involved with our team. It's so much fun.
Very cool. I'd love to.
Especially now that I know that you have a love for musical theater. We are...
Oh my gosh, you should not have mentioned that. This is going to be a whole thing now. It's going to be fantastic. Jen's in an a cappella group, by the way, so...
Oh,
true.
Fabulous.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Good to hear.
Many of the people in my a cappella group are also in the industry, and they are going to be part of my Tuesday interview series now. It's very... That just developed. I'm excited. Anyway, fantastic. Mark, the hard question. Are you ready?
I don't know.
It's a two-parter.
I know.
What is your favorite film?
Oh, well, this is easy for me. So, given this musical theater bent, actually, my favorite film is Victor Victoria, Blake Edwards' vehicle for his wife, and incredible cast. I love every member of that cast and every line uttered, and the music, Henry Mancini, and the lyrics, Leslie Bricusse. You know, Leslie Ann Warren gives, I think, one of the great comedic performances in, film history, let alone musical films. I just love it. So it's one of my favorites of all time.
That's great. Have we had that answer before, Jen?
One person, and they said it as kind of and if I had a second choice, it would be Victor Victoria. No one has ever said,
choice.
Right? No, please.
Nobody puts Victor Victoria in a corner. Come on.
That's right. The one we haven't gotten, which I also think is an incredible Leslie Ann Warren film, is Clue.
Mm-hmm.
No, top of no one's
Tim
list.
Curry, right? Tim Curry.
Yes.
I have to revisit that. Okay.
It's a great movie.
Great movie.
Okay, so the second part of this two-parter question is, we are the Motion Picture and Television Fund. What is your favorite television series, and why?
TV is so hard because there's so many great shows. So I'm going to answer it maybe a little differently than your normal guess. A show that I would love to turn people on to, which is no longer in production, but wrapped a year or so ago, was People of Earth on TBS.
Oh,
created by a genius guy, David Jenkins. Was wonderful. Had so much heart. It's essentially a series about a support group for people that believe that they've in fact, been abducted by aliens, and it turns out in the telling of the story that they have. And there's an impending invasion, and it's a comedy. And so that's one of my favorite series that's near and dear to me. And I know David has a project coming out at HBO Max shortly, which I think is it also sounds brilliant. It's a pirate comedy, historical. So there's that too.
That's fantastic. Now I'm assuming we can stream and watch People of Earth. There is some vehicle for us to still check out.
Oh yes, everything's available.
Everything is available. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. We always have a hard stop because we have a very important poetry hour with Harry Northrop that if you want to stay on, I'm sure you can. It's fantastic. But thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to connecting more, and too much fun to talk to you, Mark.
Hey, thanks so much. It was great chatting with you guys.
All right.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Always a good time with Mptf influencers. Great to see Courteney again. She has some very, very great guests. I mean, it was wonderful to hear from Mark, but in the upcoming weeks, you have heard me say that we are going to be off on Thanksgiving and on the day after Thanksgiving. I lied to you. I didn't mean to lie to you, but we had to change our programming because Courteney booked Jeffrey Katzenberg for November 27th. So we're going to take Thanksgiving Day off. We are going to be back here for a half day, November 27th. We'll do a little compilation workout because Diana is not going to be available. We'll do a compilation workout, Lancome if we can get them for 11 o'clock, live update with Bob Beecher, and then influencers at 12:30 with Courteney Bailey and Jeffrey Katzenberg. It's going to be wonderful. Let's show you the schedule for the rest of the day while I get our poetry readers on board. See you in a minute.